did not.
Comments? Do we have any public comments today? Amanda Hall, regarding the ICE contract.
Good evening, board members and guests. My name is Amanda Hall. I'm from Woodstock. I'm an educator and parent, grown up in this community. I'm also the founder of and a member of the leadership team of Standing Up Against Racism Woodstock, a local group with more than 840 members who advocate for racial justice and equity in our community. I grew up in Woodstock to parents who grew up as farmers, people that believed in being the example, not just talking about one thing and then doing the other. I watched this moral code play out time and time again as business owners and entrepreneurs, as my parents were business owners and entrepreneurs throughout my childhood. I also learned more about what that meant later on as an adult. When I was young, my father showed me what it meant to treat everyone with respect, from immigrants from Mexico to friends hired through church. My father welcomed each and every person every day with, "Hello, sir," no matter who they were. Everyone was invited to their table for lunch. That's how I learned my first words in Spanish from a local Mexican immigrant that my dad worked with. It was years later that I was told how their friends of my parents, suggested a lower wage to his Mexican employees, that the lower wage would still be so-called fair and appreciated. It was wrong, and my parents wouldn't have it. There were also business decisions of who to work with and who to hire. Whenever anything was dishonest, didn't sit well, or felt wrong, that was the only answer. I was taught you don't take money from bad business, as money gained from cheating people and shady dealings reflects more on you than anything else. There was pride and honor in being a person of moral standing, even if no one else knew, because at the end of the day, you and you alone have to live with yourself and the money you make. For over a decade, our community has been making money off of detaining undocumented immigrants, has been bankrolling off of every immigrant family that has been separated. Most people that are being detained are not being punished for a crime, but are instead being held in civil detention, awaiting a hearing with an immigration judge. Thousands have alleged abuses and deteriorating conditions while inside these facilities. This is a system our county is choosing to take part in. For most of us, it wasn't a decision we were a part of, but it is a decision all of you are continuing. It must be acknowledged that you are taking money that profits off of suffering, off of terror, and you do so because it is convenient and the status quo. When money is tied to such egregious acts and a rogue agency that continues to commit horrible crimes against people, there shouldn't be another option. The money we continue to earn through the county's ICE contract is abhorrent. We should do better. Please put this to a vote and cancel this contract. Thank you.
Thank you. Eva Baker, is it?
Good evening. I'm shorter. Before I start, I want to request that, being that you have so many board members that have the option to be virtual, that you continue the email option for public comments. We have a lot of members of our group that are your constituents that want to be heard, that don't want to take the risk of getting COVID. I myself have just recently been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and without that option, I'm here because this is that important to me. So I would really appreciate if you would consider doing that again. Okay, so my name is Eva Baker. I'm a mother, an activist, and resident of Woodstock. I'm part of the leadership team of Standing Up Against Racism Woodstock and a member of the coalition to end the ICE contract in McHenry County. I want to speak to you today briefly about my oldest son. He's 24 years old and currently lives in Flagstaff, Arizona. During college, he had several internships. He worked for the Doris Duke Foundation, led incoming college students on backpacking and rafting trips, taught at-risk youth to survive in the backcountry, worked along the Havasupai Indians at Havasupai Falls, and spent an entire summer researching permafrost in Healy, Alaska. My son's team won second place for their capstone project, and he graduated with a degree in environmental education. After graduation, he worked for AmeriCorps for a year. He is a human being that will truly make an impact in this world. My son is a white passing person of color. Because of that, we have experienced many microaggressions. My son's name is Miguel Angel Sotelo. His father was undocumented. The blood that runs through my son's veins runs through the veins of the people that are being detained in McHenry County. So yes, this is very, very personal to me. My son's culture is rich in tradition, family values, pride, and beautiful customs. His ancestors are originally from Guerrero, Mexico, and later moved to Cuernavaca, Morelos, Mexico. I've seen firsthand the breathtaking beauty, the corruption, and the poverty in Mexico. These people are human beings, and they risk their lives coming to this country to provide a safer and more prosperous life for their children. They're just like us. They want to provide their children with the best life possible. Like us, they want their children to be safe from harm. They want their children to have a good education and live productive lives. They work hard, and their contribution to our country is invaluable. I wish all of you would see the detainees as people just like yourselves. Maybe then it would be harder for you to say that you are about the numbers.
If you could summarize your comments, please.
Excuse me?
If you could summarize your comments, please.
Well, I'm almost done. Can I finish, or where am I at?
Well, we're at three minutes already, so.
Okay. Well, the bottom line is that I'd like, instead of just looking at these people as a means to an end to balance your budget, I'd like you to each go home tonight in the comfort of your home and think about these human beings who are just a dollar sign to everyone in this room. And I just think that if you thought of them as human beings like yourselves, maybe you would change your mind. Just because their skin is a different color, maybe because their language is different, they're still exactly like us. And it's not right to oppress them. Thank you.
Ms. Cheryl Liske.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to the board. My name is Sherry Liske. I'm a member of several regional organizations, including Fox Valley Citizens for Peace and Justice and Elgin Coalition for Immigrant Rights. These groups belong to the Cancel the Contract with ICE Coalition. Tonight, I would like to offer the board an educational opportunity, either in person or virtual meeting or on a virtual meeting platform. Over the years, community members have spoke up and spoken out about the contract between McHenry County and ICE. We would like to provide information to the board, not only at the board meetings through public comment, but also via an education or presentation opportunity. The interface of power, policy, and people is how change happens. Leadership develops and matures when tough situations are faced head-on. As many of us move into a period of deep reflection, let us remember our brothers and sisters who are suffering in detention. As always, the message is, lift up and protect migrants from ICE, empower communities, cancel the contract with ICE. Thank you.
Thank you. Sandra Davia, is it?
Davia.
Cancel the contract with ICE. Cancelen el contrato con ICE. Disclose the numbers. How much profit are you truly making after taking into consideration fixed expenditures of running the jail? What are you doing to look for alternatives to get a different source of profit that doesn't involve white supremacy and racism? Is this really what you want your legacy to be? And yes, I am asking not only for myself, but for the 9.3% of the foreign-born population in McHenry County. That is 28,623 people that we are standing here for tonight. And it's more because we are not bearing in mind the people that do not make themselves count because they are afraid to fill out the census because they think that they might get in trouble with immigration. Even though they are totally different entities, that is the extent of the fear that you are responsible for. If you were the ones being affected by the idiocy of putting profits over people, you would be on this side advocating right next to us to shut down this illogical, financially irresponsible, and inhumane building full of suffering. What you are doing doesn't hurt you because you are not putting profits over all people. You are putting your profits over the marginalized immigrant people by incarcerating them and making them go through traumatic experiences. Disclose the numbers. Why are you afraid of showing the community the real numbers? Do you think that making coming in person the only option to speak up at a board meeting going to quiet us down? Do you think that making public commentary one of the last items on the agenda going to make us impatient and not want to make a comment anymore to demand transparency from you? I waited patiently for about a decade to become a citizen and be able to have the privilege in these spaces to be unafraid to speak for all my undocumented family. Just like my wait in a similar historical context, we waited 89 years for slavery to become illegal. Are you not able to see that the legality of things is relative to the times, not to the level of morality it involves? May I remind you that Ruby Bridges is 66 years old? My grandma is older than that. My mother is older than that. Injustice is still here, and it is in this room, and you are upholding it. We are living history right now. How shameful that your legacy in this lifetime is to uphold a failed system that hurts people less privileged than you. You have the power to vote. Cancel the contract with ICE. But we have the power to demand from you to have a healthy community and to vote you in or out. Make your legacy a good one. Listen to your constituents here tonight. Disclose the numbers and cancel the contract. Sheriff Prem, no, we will not help you communicate to the migrant community, to the immigrant community that this is a safe county and not be afraid because it would be lying. Sheriff Prim, how dare you ask an immigrant to tell their immigrant community members that this is a safe county?
Summarize your comments, that would be appreciated. Thank
when
you.
we see every day the suffering from separating the families, making an in-person public commentary being the only option to speak up while you are home safely connecting to Zoom is putting the community in danger during a pandemic and excluding immunocompromised people from participating. But why should I tell you this? You know it. I'm simply saying it out loud so it's clear for all of us that you are attempting to quiet us down.
Could you please summarize your comments,
I am
please?
done. This is the least you can do. Quiet us down instead of organizing a second meeting with the community to open bridges for communication. Do you think that preventing us from sending a public commentary will make this injustice disappear? Call me outside agitator all you want, but this problem is a national violation of human rights that even if you ignore it, the fact is that it affects you too indirectly. To end, I'm going to read to you an excerpt. I'm not going to have time, so I'm not going to read it. I'll be here next time to read it to you, okay? But you having the power to end this contract with ICE and not taking action is violence. Tomorrow is Ash Wednesday, and we are asking you to have compassion for the immigrants' Calvary. Thank you.
Seeing no other public comments, we'll move